Hello, I'm Pine Delgado, and this is Pine's Right Progress. So, about 50 years ago, I was in special ed. I was in special ed classes, and we had this bus driver, a school bus driver named Angie, who was in her early 40s at the time that I had her for the first time. I think I was 6 when I first knew this Angie person. And when she took us to school, and what happened was, what Angie did was, whenever I said hello to this one special ed mom who dropped off who deposited her child onto our special ed school bus, as soon as we drove away, Angie would say to me in a sneering tone, "You talk too much. You talk too much." And I didn't really think much of it, but she just that's what she would that's what Angie would do. She just goes something, "You talk too much." So after a while, I stopped saying hello to this one uh, special ed mom who dropped her child onto our bus, on our school bus. And then, of course, so when that happened, Angie would say, "I'm proud of you." Well, that pride certainly didn't last long, because in the second or third grade, I can't remember which, she, for for some unknown reason, as we were riding off to school, we passed by this, I guess, a dilapidated or burned out remains of a house, and so Angie would say to me, or she would say to all the kids on our bus, "Hey, there's Richard's house! Ha ha ha!" And everybody would be laughing, and I don't understand why. I just don't understand why she would do that. So that happened like a couple of times. She would say, "Hey, there's that burned out house. That's Richard's house." Ha ha ha. One day, she just snapped. Angie snapped, and so for some reason that I'll never know, Angie on this one day started calling me poor little Richard. She would go, "Poor little Richard, poor little Richard," and everyone would be laughing their heads off like hyenas, and 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 I would say, and I didn't know what else to say, so I knew she was calling me poor little Richard, so I had to say, "No, I'm Rich Richard," as opposed to poor little Richard. She would go on saying, "Poor little Richard," and then there was one time when we had this recyclables drive at school, and and my mom would put recycled cans and newspapers for me to take to school to raise money for extracurricular activities that I never participated in because I left. One time I came on the bus with these recyclables, and Angie would say, are you carrying your lunch? Are you carrying your lunch? Is that your lunch?" And then and then in this big bag. And then there's one time when Angie would call me a goat because I was carrying these bag full of recyclables. She actually called me a goat. It is one thing to tease a neurotypical child. It's one thing to tease for a for an adult to make fun of a regular kid. But it's a whole other thing when an adult teases a special ed kid, especially that special ed child is an autistic like I am.